After NISA and iDeCo, what's next? Today, I'm going to talk about what are the investment strategies for people who have maxed out their NISA and iDeCo. And I like to share 5 real-life examples of what successful people around me invest in. If you watch to the end, you should be able to decide which investment strategies that might work best for you. About my profile, if you're interested, please have a look. Okay, our first topic, the prerequisites for these 5 people. Now, these 5 people have 3 common points. 1, they have reviewed their expense budget thoroughly. 2, they have prepared for their emergency funds ranging from 6 to 24 months. And 3, even after maxing out their NISA and iDeCo, they're still left with more than 100k yen per month. Generally, 1 can invest their surplus money in self-investment. Here it means new knowledge and health, for example. Investment in businesses, start a business or a side hustle. Investment in soft assets, for example stocks, bonds, which are paper and intangible assets. Investment in hard assets, for instance, real estate and commodities, which are all physical and tangible assets. Speaking of investments, people tend to relate only to 3 and 4. But remember, always invest in 1 and 2, especially in 1, self-investment, if you're just starting out. Because with self-investment, you gain new skills so you can get that promotion and hence increase your salary or job change to a better company with better perks. And by starting a side business or a side hustle, you'll be able to generate multiple income streams. Their impacts could be 10 times more in deciding your future wealth, thanks to the power of earning, which I talked about in this video here. However, this time, I'll only talk about 3 and 4, investment in soft and hard assets, but I cannot stress enough how important investing in yourself and investing in business. So we've gone through the assumption and preconditions. Let's dive in to the 5 real-life examples. So where do these 5 people invest in? We have Jane, who invests in index funds. Taka, mid small cap Japan stock. Mark, who invests in large cap US stocks. Yuka, in high dividend stocks. And Billy, who invests in real estate. Let's start with Jane, who invests her surplus money in index funds. Her strategy to invest even more in the same funds as her NISA and iDeCo. She buys, holds, and never sells, hence no tax on her capital gains. Her dividends are reinvested within the funds because cash flow is trivial for her, as her main goal is to increase her total net worth. Instead of researching how to improve her portfolio performance, she chooses to focus on how to improve her expenditure, increasing income, reducing expense. So her priority is to be able to increase her regular investment amount monthly. She invests mainly in the 2 most popular funds in Japan, the eMaxis Slim All Country and eMaxis Slim S&P 500. And her portfolio consists only of stocks and cash, hence easy to manage and maintain. Jane never times the market, automates her money flow, so she keeps investing monthly and gets to move on with her life outside the spreadsheets. A true bowler hits. Now, let's see Taka, who invests his surplus money in Japan's mid and small cap stocks. Same as Jane, cash flow is trivial for him, as his main goal is to increase his total net worth. For him, passive investing is just too slow, so he's willing to take risks to have much higher returns. He says index funds only gives a 3 to 7% yield per annum, so even with a 7%, it takes 10 years to double his net worth. So his strategy is to invest in individual stocks which would expedite the years taken to double his net worth. instead of a diversified investment portfolio, he chooses to have a concentrated portfolio. He only focuses on Japan's mid and small cap stocks, which sometimes referred to as value stocks. Because value stocks have been relatively cheap with higher potential growth once correction happens. Taka has read 100 books about investments. He studies every page of quarterly financial reports. He dedicates at least 3 hours daily to investment research and studies, a very typical investment mania. How about Mark, who invests his surplus money in the US large cap stocks? Like Jane and Taka, he doesn't care much about cash flow, as his main goal is to increase his total net worth as well. And like Taka, he thinks passive investing is too slow and decides to invest in individual stocks. However, unlike Taka, instead of mid-small cap Japan stocks, Mark invests in large cap US stocks like the FANG stocks, the Magnificent 7, and recently the newest coin AI5, because the US stocks have historically been trending steadily upwards. So why not invest in the S&P 500 then? Because of the performance. Let's compare the Magnificent 7 and S&P 500 stocks here. The green represents Mag 7 stocks with a staggering plus 53% increase. The brown, which is the S&P 500, had only plus 11th growth. Take away Mag 7 from S&P 500, we have the orange representing the rest of the 593 companies which stayed flat. So Mark says, why invest in low performance when you already know who the top performers are? He also prefers a concentrated rather than a diversified portfolio. And he's willing to take risks to have a much higher return. Next, we have Yuka, who invests her surplus money in high dividend stocks. Yuka has always wanted an additional cash flow to supplement her income every month. Her strategy is to let NISA and iDeCo do the heavy lifting in preparations for retirement funds. She focuses on increasing her cash flow by investing in high dividend stocks. She invests in carefully selected, high profit, and financially sound companies. However, she knows that most of her portfolio will contain low growth stocks due to the nature of high dividend stocks. Her stance is that dividends are meant to be spent, so she never reinvests back. Her motto is to live a good life in the present while preparing for the future. Yuka's advice is to set up the payout of your dividends to your checking account automatically every time the payout occurs, so that you don't accidentally reinvest the dividends back. She says dividends are considered another source of income, and the best thing about it is that dividends generate passive income eternally as long as you hold on to those stocks. Lastly, we have Billy, who invests his surplus money in real estate. His strategy is to get loans from banks to purchase income-producing properties, especially in Japan, where he takes advantage of the bank's extremely low interest loan rates. The idea is to achieve a state where the monthly rental of your property is higher than your monthly mortgage. This ultimately generates another source of passive income, which is rental income. Of course, it depends on a lot of other factors as well, like urban or rural areas, new or used properties. But Billy's take is that increasing your assets using only your own money is too slow. And he wants to use the power of financial leverage, borrowing money to make more money. If things go well, one could transform their limited capital into huge profits. Again, of course, it comes with high risk as well. For example, cannot find tenants, high cost from repair and maintenance. So Billy only recommends it to those who have deep interest in real estate. I've shared 5 real-life examples of what people around me invest in after maxing out their NISA and iDeCo. Hopefully, this gives you a wider perspective and more references by sharing some examples of people around me rather than just my own experience. Investing is very personal. Everyone has different investment objectives and risk tolerance. So instead of copying everything, try first to understand the reasons behind their investment choices. So what about investing in emerging markets, the EU markets, crypto and gold? Sadly, I do not have such acquaintances yet, but do comment if you have those experiences. So, what will or do you invest in after maxing out your NISA and iDeCo accounts? Any other investment strategies that I missed out? Feel free to comment below. If you learned just one thing from this video, hit the like and subscribe button, and feel free to comment if you have any other questions or topics in mind you'd like me to cover next. Do share this video with your friends living in Japan if you find this beneficial. The youngest day of your life is today. Happy learning, happy investing!